My name's Bobby Jenkins, and I'm the vice chair of the coordinating board. And once again, welcome to today and tomorrow's meeting. We really appreciate you being here with us, and hopefully you're going to learn lots throughout the 2 days. And like I said, I think today's luncheon will be that really good, tangible stuff that will be of tremendous value for you. What we're going to do is I'm going to introduce each of our panelists, and then we're going to turn the program over to them. The idea is that they're going to share their insight about what I wish I had known before I became a regent or trustee, and what I wish my chancellor, what my chancellor wishes I had known when I had taken this position. So a couple of different perspectives. We'll let each of our panelists, they'll talk for about 5 to 7 minutes, kind of their insight, and we'll go through that. And then really what makes this of interest and of value is we will have question and answer afterwards. So you can ask each one of our panelists or them collectively as a group any additional thoughts that they might have or questions that you were particularly having. So introducing our panel, let me just say this truly is a highlight for me, because I want everyone in the room to know that here we are in Austin, Texas, right? And this, I don't think this has ever happened to me, and I feel so blessed and so fortunate, because this may be the only time that I've been at a podium and a panel that 3 of the 4 folks up here are fighting Texas Aggies. So this is really, to be behind the orange curtain and to have 3 out of 4. So we have to have one token, is I think what we have. We have a Longhorn with us. All right. See how friendly we can all be. I'll introduce the panel right now. Don Nicholson is the chair of the Board of Regents at Amarillo College. Don works at the Texas Department of State Health Services as a public health specialist. He develops infrastructure and competency in the health issues under Preventative Health and Health Services Block Grant. He's involved with various community organizations, comprises a lengthy list, but includes the High Plains Food Bank, the State Employees Charitable Campaign, the Panhandle Area Health Education Center, Rails to Trails Walk Texas, Potter, and Randall Counties, Senior Ambassadors Coalition, Amarillo Area Baptist Health Coalition, Texas Panhandle Advocates for Cancer Control, Amarillo Aggies, Get Active Amarillo, Texans Caring for Texans, and the Amarillo Catholic School System. Don earned his bachelor's degree in science and agriculture education and master of education in agriculture education from Texas A&M. He holds a provisional lifetime Texas teaching certificate in vocational and agricultural biology. Don, thank you very much for being with us. Our next speaker presenter will be the Honorable Glenn O. Lewis, Chairman of the Board of Regents from Texas Southern University. Glenn has had a stellar career in public service and law. His appointment to the Board of Regents of Texas Southern University follows his leadership as chairman of the Blue Ribbon Advisory Committee for Texas Southern University, established by Texas Governor Rick Perry. His colleagues named him chair of the Texas Southern University Board of Regents in May 2007. He served for 10 years in the Texas House of Representatives. His leadership roles include serving as chairman of the Committee on County Affairs, vice chairman of the Committee on House Administration, vice chairman of the Tarrant County Legislative Delegation, and vice chairman of the Texas Legislative Black Caucus. A longstanding supporter of causes in his local community, Lewis serves as chairman of the board of the Fort Worth Metropolitan Black Chamber of Commerce and on the Corporate Leadership Council of the Arlington Chamber of Commerce. He also serves on numerous nonprofit boards, including the Fort Worth Tarrant County branch of the NAACP, the Fort Worth Area Arts Council, Water for the Rock, Inc., and the Tarrant County Medical Education and Research Foundation. Included in his tireless public service commitments is a service to the Public Policy Committee of the United Way of Tarrant County and membership in both the Fort Worth Chamber of Commerce and the Fort Worth Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Glenn is currently a partner of the national law firm of Linebarger, Gogan, Blair, and Sampson. He earned his Bachelor of Arts degree from Texas Wesleyan University and a Doctor of Jurisprudence degree from the University of Texas Law School in Austin. Our third presenter is Mike Reeser. Mike is the Chancellor of Texas State Technical System. As Chancellor of the Texas State Technical College System, Mike Hill leads the only state-supported technical college system in Texas. The system includes 4 colleges with 11 campuses across the state. Mike was appointed as the 9th chancellor of TSTC system in 2010. Prior to that time, he served as president of the Texas State Technical College, West Texas, for 6 years. He also has served in various roles at the college, including vice president and dean of instruction at TSTC, West Texas. Prior to joining TSTC, he was the president of Compass Bank in Waco and has served for 15 years in various executive and management roles in banking in Houston. Throughout his career, Mike has been active in various community organizations and served in various capacities during those efforts. He currently serves on the board of the Texas and Oklahoma Plains Girl Scout Council and the executive committee of the board of directors of the Texas Midwest Community Network. He is also the chairman of the Texas Higher Education Regional Council, Region 2. He is a past president and director of the Sweetwater Chamber of Commerce, a past president of the Greater Waco Chamber of Commerce, the past chairman of the Waco Chamber of Commerce Workforce Development Regulatory Subcommittee, and served as a director of the Midway ISD Community Advisory Board. Additionally, he has served as a director of the Adopt a School Advisory Board, was chairman of the Multiple Sclerosis Waco Walk Telethon, and served as president of the Metropolitan Association, a nonprofit organization in Houston. He has also taught banking and finance for the American Institute of Banking. During his spare time, he likes to play acoustic and electrical guitar. He earned his Bachelor of Science degree from Texas A&M and a Master of Business Administration from the University of Texas at Arlington. As you can see, we've really got some wonderful, wonderful panelists, not only in the education field, but what they do in giving back to the community. Please welcome and give a warm response to our panel. All right, so Don, you give the honor of kicking us off with our program, and then we'll just move right on through.
Thank you, Robert. Just listening to that litany of things that we're involved with reminds me of a saying. It says, some people drink, some people fool around, I go to meetings. And I think that is typical of what you see with a regent or a chancellor as they get involved. They want to be involved in good things that are happening. They want to be able to bring community experience into their arena to be able to allow the college or the situation to benefit from their fingers out in the community. A couple of things that I really have enjoyed about being in the Board of Regents for Amarillo College was learning all those acronyms. I wish I would have known some of those before I became a regent. I wish I would have been able to invest in a paper company because we tend to get acres of paper. I was cleaning out a bedroom the other day because my daughter's coming into town for Thanksgiving. I had 7 portafile boxes of just nothing but Amarillo College information. When I got to be chairman of the board, I kind of switched that a little bit. We now get everything PDF form. You can print it out if you'd like to, but we get our financial information, we get our status updates on the different parts of the educational components that are out there, and it's made a big difference. You can carry stuff around here and read it. Some of the things also that I'd like, or wish I would have known, was how many different community things our community colleges affect. I wear a lot of hats in and around the Panhandle of Texas. And everywhere I go, I have somebody from Amarillo College there, or Clarendon College, or South Plains College. They're involved in their communities, not just from an academic standpoint, but they want to know what's going on. They want to be able to contribute and say, this is something we want to take on as a project, or we want to be involved with. And I don't care if it's addressing teen pregnancy, senior issues, whatever in that community. They recognize what goes on. I just got a email from our local United Way, and they have a thing they call the listserv that they send out job openings in some of the nonprofits and so forth. And surprisingly enough, this is a thing from the Opportunity School, which is geared for low income, preschool type situation. They're looking for somebody to be responsible for their No Excuses program. So they're the first preschool in the country to become a No Excuses school. We've already expanded that for our elementaries, middle schools, and that realization of what no excuses means. It was not that the children have no excuse to succeed, but we as institutions and community partners have no excuse not to be able to help those kids succeed in what they want to do. So I wish I would have known some more of that as I came in. Dr. Bellick today, talking about some of the things administrators look at, was kind of on the ball when she said it changes when you get elected to that position. I have a lot of interaction with those Emerald College people. I set up a lot of continuing education courses in the healthcare field. And it's a pretty big change. I have to take off one hat and put on another when I go talk to staff and try to get them to give me just another hour for this provider training for my immunization nurses. And I tell those staff every time, I'm here that you are providing me a service, not that I'm to look at what you're doing. So I think that some of the things I wish I would have known, try to involve more of what the school is doing, because it's such a big thing. We have had the opportunity as a board to replace a couple of board members. We had one that moved away and one that became ill. And we've got a brand new regent over here, Daniel Henke, and he's coming in from Zachary Engineering, bringing a different perspective to our mix on our board. And we've got a new president. Dr. Russell Lowry Hart took Dr. Matney's position, and Dr. Hart and I sat down and kind of went over what should we involve with a new regent orientation. And typically in the past, it's always been have the different heads of the departments come in and talk about what their department is doing. And I took a different tact with Daniel. We spent an afternoon where we, instead of going to each one of the different campuses and seeing what's going on in those classrooms and so forth, gave an overview of what it's to be a good regent. And Dusty was real right this morning. The most important thing we do as regents is hire that chief executive officer. And so I wanted to introduce Dan to what the philosophy of our new president was as far as educating and being involved. There's time to learn that other stuff. There's books of acronyms that you can pick up. There are atlases of the data sheets that we have on an ongoing basis. And I've taken more than my time.
You're good.
Glenn?
Thank you.
Pass.
Thank you. As you noticed, I couldn't help but notice when I came up here that I seem to be the only one up here that has honorable on his name. I don't know if that's because of my 10 years of service in the Texas House of Representatives or whether it's because I'm at the table with three Aggies. I don't.
It might be a little of both.
Either way, I'll take it, right? I want to recognize two of my colleagues that are here, and I want you to know who they are, because as I start to say things, they can act as fact checkers for you over there. One of our regents, Mr. Dionisio Flores from El Paso, is here. And our student regent, Ms. Marjan Williams, is here too. So y'all can check with them about that. There were some things that I wished I had known. Having spent 10 years in the legislature and coming onto the board just 2 years out of my service in the legislature, a lot of the funding issues and things like that, I thought I had a pretty good handle on how those things worked before I got on the board. The one thing that I didn't know was how difficult it was going to be for us as board members to restrain from injecting ourselves into the personnel matters and squabbles and the kind of politics that goes on in academia. Let me tell you, the politics in academia are far rougher than anything I experienced in the Texas legislature. I can tell you that.
Yes.
And it was, and continues to be, a real challenge. Our board came on, we had no institutional knowledge on the board because we were a whole new board when we came on. The entire board had resigned at the request of the governor, and he appointed a whole new board. So when we came on, there was no one there who had been there before. And we were sort of starting from scratch. We were very fortunate in choosing a president who was very experienced. He had 28 years of experience in higher education at various institutions, and I believe had even served as the interim CEO at the University of Houston for a while before coming to becoming our president. So that was very helpful. I think he probably wishes we would have known how much we were going to be drug into these personnel matters and disputes of one. You know, I've done some adjunct teaching at Tarrant County College in my hometown, and I went to a couple of faculty meetings, and it never ceases to amaze me how much debate goes on in a faculty meeting over things that nobody else in the world other than them cares anything about. You know? and I mean, it gets serious, and they go on and on and on. But that's their life, and that's their job, and we have to be sensitive to that, and we have to try to understand that, and I think I'm beginning to understand it. But when I first came, I was like, why are they arguing over such petty things, or things I thought were petty? But I suspect I missed the last part of your presentation because I had to go in my room and participate in a meeting on a teleconference meeting with some partners in my law firm. And I suspect if anybody listened in on that meeting, they would be saying the same thing. Why are those lawyers arguing? You know, why are they arguing over such petty things? I don't know. I don't know. But, you know, I guess it's once you've committed yourself to something and you've devoted the bulk of your life to it, it should take on a certain level of importance to you. Quite frankly, if it doesn't, then you're probably not any good at it. But those are the things, those disagreements. And I wasn't ready for, I guess I was ready for some of the politics. And again, having come out of the legislature and having spent 10 years there, I developed some relationships with members of the legislature, and none of them lost my cell phone number when I left. And so those calls come. And there was one instance where one had lost my phone number, and he was a high-ranking government official, and he simply called the university and our board relations office and said, "I want your chairman's cell phone number." And she was like, "I didn't know what else to do except give it to him." So, but it's been very rewarding. I didn't know how rewarding it was going to be. I have enjoyed my service on the board. I get to work with great people. I think because of the history and of us coming on and the things that took place, we came on with a concerted effort that we are going to work together. And we're not going to allow those things to divide us. and hurt the university. And we've been successful at doing that. And that's about it for me. All right, Michael?
Thank you, Judge. You know, I had prepared a bunch of, I only have 6 minutes, and those of you who've worked with me before know I have trouble saying good morning in 6 minutes, but I'm going to work really hard to do that. If you got this or this, and you are a new trustee or a regent, the smartest thing you could do is take this home and study the stuff in here about what it means to be a trustee or a regent. There is some really good stuff. And all of it usurped my presentation. So I'm going to go a bit edgy here, if you don't mind. I have the best board in Texas, and none of them are here. So I'm going to tell you what every CEO in this room wishes they could say to you. If you're a new regent, are you ready? Are you ready? Mary, I promised you. Okay. Everybody knows that the first thing you're supposed to do is protect the institution. So you can do that through audit, watch out for outside influence, risk management processes, crisis response, all that stuff. Watch out for that. That's your number one job. Number two, pick and support your CEO. Your CEO manages the college, not you. You govern. She or he manages the college. So things like Justy talked about in the last session. Don't call the staff, call the CEO. That's what your CEO wants you to know. If you have a question, call the CEO. Finally, the board should manage itself. Every minute that your CEO spends managing wayward board members is a minute taken away from the college. So think about that. The chairman manages the board, the president or the CEO or the chancellor manages the college. That's what they want to say to you. So if you're a brand new member, think about that as you go forward. What does governance look like? Well, good pedagogy says, I'm going to show you and not just tell you. So here's what it might look like. I'm going to say a question you might be tempted to ask if you were micromanaging, and then how that question could get asked if you were governing instead. So here's what it might look like. How many kilowatt hours of electricity do we use? That's micromanagement. Okay? Here's a better one. This is a governing question. Do we have an energy management plan? When was the last time that was updated? Could we see it sometime? Okay, here's another one. Why did enrollment go down 1%? Here's governance. How's our enrollment management plan going? What's working and what's not? That's governance, not why did it go down 1%. Here's micromanagement. How much do we pay our registrar? Here's governance. How do our salaries compare with our competitors? Are we being successful in our talent retention strategies? See the difference? Because remember, you're managing a CEO. She or he is an alpha person. You pick them because they're highly skilled at managing these details for you. So here's a couple more. How much did we spend remodeling that lab? Why not instead go to something like, could you please go over our capital allocation and planning process with us one more time? Or are we on schedule with our IT replacement schedule? Completely different points of view. Finally, I got a lot more, but I only have 6 minutes. How about this one? How much did we spend on billboards this quarter? Okay. You, by the way, there are some really brave CEOs in here that are giggling over this right now. And I would guess they're the ones who don't have board members here with them. Instead, yeah, I would ask, how about this as a governing question? Tell me, what do prospective students think of our college? How do we know? Now that's governance as opposed to management. Now on top of all of that, I want to give you this bit of advice. You know, there's an old leadership saw that goes like this: don't tell, ask. So I will tell you as a regent, the most important thing you do is ask questions. Here's 3 that you ought to consider every single meeting. Mr. or Mrs. CEO, are you spending your time on only the things that only a CEO can do? If not, why? Number 2, how does this matter in front of us contribute to student success? The most important question you can ever ask. And then finally, and this one will take courage, but you've got to ask at every meeting. What is the next thing that the board can do or stop doing to make sure that we help our institution? So, in conclusion, study this. If you're a brand new regent or if you need some refreshing, there's some great stuff in here. And on behalf of all the CEOs in the room that are saying to me, golly, maybe we could pick Mike up as a vice chancellor after he gets it. I would say govern, don't manage, and pick a good CEO, let her or him manage it for you, and your life as a regent will be absolutely delightful.
Outstanding thoughts, great advice, very, very practical and usable. We still have a couple of minutes for questions, and we've in the past had some great questions from the floor. So if you have one that you'd like to ask the group or an individual, Mary has the microphone right over here.
And Robert, I would like to also say that we have a lot of resources at our disposal. Go in and tap into them. We saw aspects of that in our last presentation, that the Higher Education Coordinating Board has put together some things that we can look at, compare what we're doing, and get some ideas of where other things are going. Also, the associations that are out there, the Community College Association of Texas Trustees has both a legislative and an education committee. We are presenting a united front coming into the legislation this year. The Education Committee is putting together a new handbook on what is appropriate for new regents, new board members, and we hope to have that out soon. Take advantage of the information that's there.